Welcome to the Chak and Baba show. We got the leader consultant, and we got Chak. I'm sitting in for Baba tonight. Hey, what's up with y'all guys? How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, man. I'm trying to
Okay.
make it into this spring. It's still cold outside.
Yeah.
Can't complain. Can't complain. Can't
Hey,
complain.
Chak, what city you in right now?
Detroit?
You're in Detroit? Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, what
yeah.
about you, Lee?
North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're here to talk about the acquisition of Justin Fields and all Steelers stuff. I know we're on the Bears banner platform. My name is Bernard Muhammad. And also, the last few days, on the other side, you got the Chicago fans who are pretty much hot about the trade of Justin Fields to the Steelers. You got Chicago fans actually talking about quitting the team. I mean, I don't know if that's a blessing for the Steelers, but y'all can tell me what y'all feel about it on the other side. But hey, let's start off the top as far as how did this affect Kenny Pickens? So, what's y'all feelings on the Kenny Pickens trade? I mean, sound like he was upset about the signing of Russell Wilson, and he kind of forced his way out.
Yeah, that's just how I see it, man. Coach Mike T say we don't want hostages. We want volunteers. So, I mean, if he waved the white flag, then that right there just lets his competitive spirit. If he didn't want to compete with Russell for the job, then hey, we're gonna get some guys in here who want to compete. At the end of the day, I don't understand how he cannot want a future Hall of Famer to come in and sharpen that iron.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get that, so I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, even without the Justin Fields pickup.
Okay. So you say he didn't even really want to compete for it. He just like, I want to be out. Mike T said, hey, I don't want no hostages, huh?
Right.
Hey, Lee, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I got to second that. I don't see what he did or what in his body of work made him feel that he deserved to even make that decision. Looking back to last year, the year before, let's not forget, he was able to play. He chose not to suit up the last game of the season because we went with Rudy, and we all saw with our own eyes that the offense looked better with Rudy. So for me, you got to compete, right? At the same time, if you put a body of work down, I can see if you played even mediocre, if you even put up, excuse me, Russell Wilson's numbers with Denver, then maybe you have something to talk about. But they were mediocre and bottom of the barrel at best. So I was all for it. Being able to get back, I believe you said it was a third round for him. Let the door hit you with a good little split. So
You know what? A lot of this is probably being created in college. Even though you had a transfer portal, and coaches have always been able to take other jobs, and I do respect that players should be able to transfer, to school, especially if it's a situation where they've been recruited and there's 4 or 5 quarterbacks there, and they kind of thought it wouldn't be that situation. I understand that in a situation, but I think what's happening is you got guys who feel like they could carry the same thing into the NFL. And this is the first time some of them actually being asked to compete, because some of them might have transferred to 2 or 3 high schools just so they could be the starter and transfer to colleges. And now he get to a quarterback room where he has to realistically compete and don't want to do it.
And still got to come in as the backup. Still not the starter.
Yeah.
A career backup situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in that.
Yeah.
It is.
The funny part about that is you could be, if you that third person, holding the clipboard, you could carve out a 8 to 12 year career just holding that clipboard. Right. But if you're a guy that really wants to start and you keep starting and you're not that good, you could be out the league in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chase Daniels is a great example of a guy that made millions. Chase Daniels made millions holding that clipboard.
Yeah, but when he was asked to go in, he went in. He wasn't going to tell him I ain't suiting up, right? So you still got to be that company man. You think about it like that. You still got to be that company man and be able to do what the company is asking for you. They only ask you to do it 2-3 times a season, if that, maybe 2-3 times every 2-3 seasons. Right. But as far as with KP, as y'all know, I wasn't a fan. I didn't see it. He wasn't a first round pick. He wasn't a first round pick. I don't. You look back on it, I don't see what they saw. They gave him the opportunity, and the times that we saw him, he didn't look good. He had a couple of flashes here and there, but if you really look at the body of work in that quarterback room, who was the best quarterback we had last year? Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph. And that's a career backup. He can hold a clipboard and go get paid some money, but he was a better quarterback. So, I'm big on character. I'm big on team. I'm big on doing for the other, hence why I was happy Dante left. I don't care what numbers you put up. If you're not for the team and we're going to go back to the black and gold culture, you got to go. If you ever say you can't go in and you healthy, you got to go. So I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just second that. I can't disagree. You're just right about that. But even still, just with what you said, because even though you said you didn't see it, coming out of college, I didn't necessarily see it coming out of college, but I thought the only thing that gave him that plus was that he was in the same building and they seen him every day. And they probably felt like they could work with him, seeing his work habits, things like that, seeing his leadership. So I guess, this probably is a shock to them if he's acting like this, because they probably never thought that he had this type of football character in him.
Right. Yeah, because he was kind of almost coming off as, from my perspective, as kind of the tough guy. It kind of fit what the Pittsburgh Steelers was all about. But anyway, Pittsburgh Steelers signed Russell Wilson, who was let go by Denver, who pretty much paid him to go home. And I can't really say, from my opinion, that Russ was not bad last year. Russ actually had a pretty decent season last year. It was better than the season before. But what's your feelings, Chak, on the Steelers picking him up? More so like a 1-year rental.
I mean, it's a what they say, low risk, high reward type situation. As far as what he did last year with Denver, not turning the ball over, and coming into this situation here, that's exactly what the Steelers need. Somebody who put the ball in the end zone and not turn the ball over. I loved it when they did it. You hear all the talk, but you just believe it when you see it. Hey, when it got done, I'm all on board with that. He's great football character for one. And then with the addition of Arthur Smith, with his game plan, run the football, play action. That's right in Russell's wheelhouse. He took the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Well, I say that defense did, but he was able to get it done. So yeah, that's right up the wheelhouse right there. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Lee. Let me come back to you. I'm gonna read some stats real quick on Russell from last year. Russell, hold on. How many games did Russell play last year? Russell played 15 games last year. He threw for 3,000 yards, 26 TDs, 8 interceptions. That sounds pretty solid. I mean, it's nothing that's spectacular, but that's pretty solid. What's your thoughts on Russell Wilson coming into the quarterback room?
It kind of goes back to what I was saying before. The best quarterback that we had in our quarterback room last year was Mason Rudolph. So I think this is a huge step, and we're not getting 5-7 years ago, Russ. We get that, you know what I mean? But when you say 3,000 yards, was it 28 touchdowns or 26 touchdowns?
26.
I mean, 26 touchdowns. Kenny P threw for 2,006 touchdowns and 4 picks last year. And we won 10 games. So for me, I think it's definitely an upgrade. Being able to bring in a new blood, like Chak said, see what Alex Smith could do. I mean, I think that was his name. As far as they said, he did something with Tannehill, right? So we'll see what he might be able to do. Maybe some new blood, new plays. We have weapons. We got 2 good running backs. We got a cyborg receiver. We have a really, really good tight end. So I think it's a great pickup for $1.5 million.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't, that's like being able to really, it's not a 2023 Benz, but it's a 2019 with low miles that I got for a steal. So I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride the mess out of this thing for this year and see how it goes. And if it's not, I can still sell it and be able to get something back for it because I didn't pay nothing for it. So I think it's a very, very good pickup. I think it's gonna be able just to have a quarterback that's seen it before, that can read the field and just make the right play. We don't need him to come in and throw for 350 a game, right? You made a great point. Run the ball, play action, get the ball to the tight end. We know you don't run a 4.5 no more. You're probably like 4.8, 4.9, but that's still fine. Get us to go short yardage. So I think it's a good pickup. I'm happy. I'm excited to see what we do. But now it's, you made a great point earlier. You can't win in football just by getting a quarterback, right? What are you putting around them? We still got to plug up the trenches. We need to make sure now, because we've made pickups, we've plugged some holes, right? We plugged hole at the corner. We plugged a hole at middle linebacker. So now we really got to focus on this offensive line and this defensive line. We can be able to keep them upright, because that was part of the problem, and what part of the issue we had in Denver is he couldn't stay upright. You know what I mean? He was sacked a lot. He was always running for his life. And Russ can't cook like he cooked in Seattle. He can't move the way that. Hey, I ain't mad at him. He got Sierra at home. He a little occupied from time to time, right? So I get it. But if you could be able just to protect him a little bit and be able to make sure that we are a run-first team, I think we really can be able to make some noise. So we'll see how far we'll be able to get with that. But I'm okay with it.
Okay. Hey, that's a great point, bringing up Russ being sacked. Russ was 4th on the list in sacks last year, and Justin Fields was 5th. So, man, y'all gonna have a lot of sacks in that room, right? But you know what? Russ has always kind of had an issue with sacks anyway. If you look at Russ' career, Russ has always been either number 1 in being sacked, or 2 or 3 for the last 8 years or so. So that's just one of the things that it comes with Russ, and some of that is because of him trying to stand plays, and it's not because he doesn't know what he's looking at. It's just because he's trying to stand the play. But like you say, hey, once that that 40 time go down, it's not a lot of extensions you could do now. You just got to know to get the ball out your hand. But I would not hold much of what he done with Sean Payton against him. Sean Payton to me is overrated as a quarterback, and I think I'm a quarterback as a coach, and I think he really never really wanted Russell there. So I think he did everything to try to sever that relationship, but they owed him so much money, he really couldn't do anything other than finally they just kind of just like, hey, you need to take I think it was an injury clause. They wanted him to do something with his injury clause last year. I don't
imagine that. Imagine you sign a contract and they come to you with, you know what? Push that 30 mil back. So give us more time to know if we want to keep you or not for your job. That's what they told the man. Look, push that injury clause back past May, because we don't know if we want you, but that gives us more time. Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and play. And guess what he did after they did that? He won 5 straight games.
Yep.
He won 5 straight after that. Nah, you're gonna give me my money. I'll play for 1.5 because was it 28 he getting this year? 28 or 30, whatever it is. You get a nice chunk. I wouldn't have pushed it back either. So I'm with you, man. Sean Payton, he had Drew Brees. Yeah, Drew Brees, he had a great offense. I mean, a great defense. Very underrated defense. But that defense was really, really good. You know, Jonathan Vilma and them, had a really good defense. But I what did he do after? So I'm rooting against him in Denver for this year for sure.
Yeah, because I think at one point he had, I want to say his name was, the D coordinator was Greg Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Greg was out there taking bounties for and I think he got him in trouble one year for that. I think they lost a draft pick.
Yeah.
Greg was like, "Hey, come back with some. We got some bounties on if you put some guys on their back." Hey, thank you all. Y'all tuning in to Chak and Baba, and I'm just sitting in for Baba tonight on the Chak and Baba show, which is all Steelers all day, all night. Hey, let's go to, we're talking about Russell Wilson. Chak, did you have any thoughts on Russell?
Oh no, like I said, I like it. I like it. I like, it was a great fit as far as his skill set, and then it fits well with Arthur Smith's offense. Run the ball, play action. He liked them big receivers. With the sideboard. It's just a great fit. There's nothing bad that I can say about it, other than if it don't work, it didn't cost you nothing. Then you got and you got the young buck, right in the QB room, should be ready to go.
Okay. And and now I guess this is the story right here that people may be tuning in about, especially if you're a Bears fans. Feels. And I believe it was y'all's second show. Right at the end of the show, I said, I think the playoff was still going on. And I said, hey, why don't y'all just trade for Justin Fields? And I know we kind of like laughed and joked about it, but I don't think any of us thought that would transpire. But what's y'all thoughts on the Steelers acquiring Justin Fields? Now I know Baba's he's heated here. Baba GB is heated about it. But what's y'all thoughts on it?
You know how I see this just as the same situation when the Steelers went after the kid, when they got the kid out of Washington, the brother Haskins. I kind of see that, the same type of situation. It's not really costing them anything unless they decide to keep him, and you give him that 5th year, you have to guarantee him $25 million. But if you make that decision, obviously you see something in him. This should be worth it, down the line. And then, based on his athleticism, I'm not even really looking at what he did in Chicago. I'm kind of looking at him as just raw and the things that he did at Ohio State. Because everybody talked about the speed and the receivers that he had at Ohio State, because he was flinging that pill there. He could do that same thing. I don't see no negatives in it, basically, especially if he put the work in. Because just like what you were saying with Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson pretty much had the same skill set, the athleticism, the speed, but he put the work in to be able to throw the football. Now Lamar, he just got to get over that hump in the playoffs and win that big game.
Okay. Hey, what you got, Lee?
I've been screaming for this since going back to last season, when I knew the Bears got that pick. When I knew that pretty much was going to be a lock for the first number 1 pick because the Panthers were so bad. I watched Justin. Like we was talking a little bit earlier. I watched Justin when I was in Chicago for the first couple of years, and if you think about it, right, it's kind of almost identical to what we had going on over here. Poor offensive coordinator, poor play calling, really no type of direction put in place to be able to make sure that he's progressing. But the big difference is we still had pieces. We still had a running back. We still had receivers. We still had TJ. We still had these things. Whereas in Chicago, He had a good running back, Montgomery, Herbert, Cole Kmet at that time was a rookie out of Notre Dame. They didn't have DJ Moore yet. And you still saw so many flashes as far as what he might be able to do. So now we're getting them, but hopefully we have an offensive coordinator that's going to be able to coach this kid up. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he's going to be able to be in that quarterback room and sit behind Russ and learn how to take care of his body and learn how to watch film and learn how to be a pro. So if we do decide to pick up that 25 or something mils because we see something and it's something that's there. And when it's all said and done, that could be the quarterback of the future. So I'm all for it. Sorry, Chicago, but y'all ain't been good about taking care and developing no quarterbacks, period, ever, right? I mean, nothing personal. I lived through it, but I know from 98 on, I seen so many quarterbacks that I can't even remember half of their names coming through Chicago. So I think y'all saved them, and thank you to the owner to not being, as you know how they can be in them situations, actually sending them to a place where he has a chance to be able to have his NFL career get prolonged. Because as we know, Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die, and when you don't see him many more places after that. So I'm happy for that. And hopefully Caleb Williams can come in and do something also. Chicago's making moves, so I'm not knocking. I still rock with the Bears tough. Chicago picking up, Keenan Allen, and so they're trying to make stuff happen, but we'll take them off your hands. We'll take it from here. It's a team that's used to winning rings, plural, 6 of them. So hopefully he can be able to get us to 7+. So we appreciate you guys. Appreciate you.
Okay. And so that's good that the Steelers don't have Matt Canada, because what you made a great point, because Matt Canada's resume was no better than Getsy in Chicago. So at least the Steelers were smart enough to get rid of Matt Canada, at some point in the season, and at least you're starting with 2 quarterbacks now with a new offensive coordinator. But I do think this will be great for Justin Fields to learn from a veteran like Russell. It's just little things that he might not have been able to get, because even if you look at the quarterback room he was at in Chicago, especially this year, you're in the quarterback room with a Division III quarterback, and the other quarterback was a guy that pretty much was no good anyway. So who was you learning from as far as experience? And I know he always loved Russell, so this is somebody he looks up to, and it could just be little things that you can learn from being around a veteran and how they prepare and how they see things. It reminds me of Jim Miller. I think Jim Miller played for the Bears and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, everybody played for the Bears. Y'all had every quarterback.
Everybody. Yeah. Jim Miller played for both teams. But anyway, Jim Miller had talked about playing with Tom Brady. At one point, he was a Patriot. And he had been around the league for a while, and he talked about Tom preparation in practice was something he had never seen a quarterback do, as far as how many times he takes snaps and work on his fundamentals of throwing a ball, but he's not throwing it, right? Just going through the steps of a snap, a drop back, making sure his foot is right, making sure his arm placement is right, toward his hips, right? And just going through that. And maybe maybe Russell being there would being able to give that to Fields to help him go to the next level.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think it's a move in the right direction, man. I mean, we was talking about the end of last year, all these holes that we had to fill up, right? And QB was a glaring hole. If you think about it, we filled that. We went through. We laughed and joked about the cats that they pulled off the couch to play middle linebacker for us last year. We filled that hole. We talked about we had nobody on the other side of the kid, Joey Porter. We filled that hole. So I'm optimistic about Khan. I know a lot of people mixed on him. You know what I mean? They say he was just a bookman. He was the bookie. He don't know, but I'm seeing strides towards some sort of normalcy of what Pittsburgh as an organization is, right? We're going back to smash mouth running football. We're going back to trying to be able to ensure that we control the clock. So for me, I think it's the move in the right direction. And with the way the NFL is right now, pocket quarterbacks are not the end all be all any longer. Josh Allen is not a pocket quarterback. Dak Prescott is not a pocket quarterback. You know what I mean? I mean, heck, even if you think about, I've seen Kirk Cousins scoop, so you have to be able to play outside the confines of the pocket because everybody's running a 4-5. You got linebackers running 4-4s. So you got to be able to play outside of the norm. And he takes us right to that next generation and then that next step of what quarterback play is going to be. So again, I thank you, Chicago. That's probably the best thing I could heard besides somebody telling me they was bringing me a Portillo's beef. You know what I mean? To be able to eat. So I'm all for it, man.
So I understand this is supposed to be a no compete year. So, one of the conditions of this trade is the Steelers gave up a 6th-round pick to Chicago, but if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps, then the Steelers would have to give a 4th-round conditional pick based on those conditions. So I think the Steelers is probably looking at Russell playing the whole year. I mean, Russell have been relatively healthy his whole career. I know he had a thumb injury a few years back, but I think he only did about 3 games and he was back in there. But that's when Russell started kind of struggling to me, is when he had that thumb injury. He seemed to have struggled through that thumb injury since that point. But Justin Fields is going to definitely sell a lot of Steelers jersey. I mean, people around the country love Justin Fields. And even when he was drafted, even though he was drafted 11 in 2021, you would have thought he was the number 1 pick. Right. You barely hear conversation about Trevor Lawrence at all. I mean, I know nobody watched Jacksonville football, so they've been talking about making that team sell for years. Because they have blackouts. Yeah.
It's been a minute for them. Jones, Drew, and Jimmy Smith and them. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and they had a winner down there too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So to me, it sounds like y'all saying that quarterback room this year is better than it was last year. I mean, is that a consensus?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, you got a future Hall of Famer in there. That alone.
Mm-hmm.
That alone.
Mm-hmm. And I think George is going to be happy about this, isn't he? George got some people that's going to throw him the deep ball, because I know if Justin get in there, Justin loved that deep ball, so George is going to be happy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Russell got a pretty deep ball.
He sure does. Russell does, too.
Yeah. Yep.
That definitely improved, and let's not forget the teacher. Hopefully, from what everything is seen, has improved. Meaning the offensive coordinator, right?
Oh, yeah.
The person that's over top of these people that's bringing in his game plan. If it's anything like we saw in Tennessee, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
you're gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Because let's not forget how bad Tannehill looked leaving Miami.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was a quarterback turned receiver. It was like, so he pretty much took Mitchell Trubisky and turned him into a Pro Bowler. You put it in the context, because Tannehill was a receiver. You know what I mean? He only had like 2 years playing quarterback at A&M before he got drafted. Trubisky had 1 year in North Carolina and got drafted. So he took Trubisky and turned him into a Pro Bowler. So man, that's an understatement to say how much better is the quarterback room. I think Russell Wilson alone could have ran circles around everybody in that quarterback room, including Matt Canada and all the offensive coordinator 2.0 and 3.0. I can't remember their names now. We had so many offensive coordinators last year. So definitely, I think it's better, but I just want to make sure this point is really kind of stuck. It doesn't matter how well he can be able to read it, and it doesn't matter how well our running backs do. We just got to have an identity of who we are going into minicamp, going into preseason, as far as how physical we plan on being. As long as we commit to running that thing, which is what he's been known for, it's going to open up so many other doors for us. So I'm ecstatic. about the way our quarterback room is looking.
Okay, you're watching the Chak and Baba show. I'm sitting in for Baba GD tonight. When you're just talking about that, as far as the improvement, hopefully in the play calling, you face some of the toughest defenses playing in the division that Pittsburgh plays. I mean, Pittsburgh always had a good defense, but you're facing that Ravens defense. And if Justin Fields gets some time, he's going to be facing his old teammate, Roquan Smith. And a person who actually kind of terrorized Justin Fields for a while, Myles Garrett. But Myles Garrett terrorized every quarterback. Yeah, because he had an incident, I believe it was his rookie year with Mason Rudolph, didn't
he?
Yeah. So, how does some of this fit? How does the Steelers look going forward facing that type of division? Because this is a tough division. I mean, you bring it back, I'm assuming a healthy Joe Burrows. You got the Ravens team. You got the Steelers. You got Cleveland. I'm not sure if Deshaun Watson is going to be the Deshaun Watson that we saw years ago, or are we going to see the same Deshaun Watson that we seen on Cleveland? I don't know. He looked out of shape since he been at Cleveland and disinterested. He took that bag and
I don't know, man. It looked like Deshaun Watson might have aged about 5 years in 2 years.
Yeah,
he just don't look right to me at all. I really don't even know what to say about it. But I mean, that division is that division because of the Steelers, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. Each team in the division usually have their time. Baltimore seems like they having their time right now, but even still, Lamar Jackson's record against the Steelers, whenever they play, that ain't no guarantee. Cleveland is Cleveland until they do something, and and the Steelers are the Steelers. That division is the toughest division in football because of Pittsburgh. So that'll be my answer to that. And every year, unless they start off, 1-6, 1-7, 0-5, something like that. To me, that division is always the Steelers division to take. Just because. Cleveland, they had to improve their defense because they see what Pittsburgh is doing. Baltimore Ravens, they went out and did what they did defensively and built that defensively and built that culture off the Steelers culture. And Cincinnati, they just Cincinnati. I ain't got no word for them. I do got a lot of respect for Joe Burrow. I do got a lot of respect for him. But outside of that, Cincinnati, just Cincinnati. Just another city in Ohio. What they call it? Southern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky, whatever they call it over there.
Yeah, earlier somebody said I mispronounced Baltimore, but I meant Baltimore Ravens if I said something else. But anyway, what's your thought on that, Lee? I mean, how does that shape up in this division? Because this is a very tough division. I agree with Chak. I mean, this is the hardest division in football.
I think Chak made a great point. We are the AFC North. And regardless of our record, any of them know it's going to be a slug. It's going to be a slug fight. It's going to be we're going to rock it out. I mean, that's pretty much how it's going to come down to. And we'll split with everybody in the division, except for the Bengals, like you said. We'll split with everybody in the division, and all it's going to end up doing is iron going to sharpen iron. We're going to all make each other better. Mess around and be off 3 out of the 4, if not all 4 teams, make the playoffs when it's all said and done. So as far as the division goes, as long as we can be able to go back to that Steeler identity, which the Ravens stole to a T, and they do it. They run that ball. They play physical. We're going to play good defense. We're going to smack you in the mouth, and we're going to continue to run the ball down your throat. So I think if we can stick to that, it's anybody's division. if we can get decent quarterback play. I mean, we did beat everybody in the division last year. Nobody swept us.
Okay. Hey, do one of y'all want to address that point made down there? Look like it said, didn't Cleveland piss twice?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
To go to the postseason, Cleveland. I mean, last season. Yeah, I don't think that's accurate there, bro. Didn't beat them twice. Be able to go to the postseason and into advance because that didn't happen. Not last season. Could have probably been, if you're saying Cleveland, if you want to go back, Cleveland ain't really made the playoffs much. So I hate to be that person, but nah, bro, that didn't happen. So, I didn't hear the mispronunciation of Baltimore. So I didn't catch that part, so I'm not sure what that was. But now they didn't beat them twice to make it to the postseason.
Man, Cleveland is the new kid on the block, man. They've been the bottom dwellers of the division for a long time.
They played well last year. I mean, we laughing and we joking, but I mean, honestly, Nick Chubb went down early.
Yeah,
Chubb went down early. Imagine if he would have been able to stay healthy the whole year for him.
Yeah,
and we don't know. Deshaun, hopefully he ain't got no more cases, and hey, anybody gonna play kind of bad if you're not sure if you might end up getting locked up, and you got all type of civil suits coming, and you don't know how much of your paper gets spent. I'm not really trying to read defenses when I'm trying to read these, these issues that I have. So I'm gonna give Deshaun another year. Now this year, if he don't play, because Flacco, come on now, Flacco played well enough to be able to get them there.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, so I can't say he's better than Deshaun Watson. So if you have a healthy Nick Chubb, if you have a 75% Houston Texans, Deshaun, defense is playing well. It's all four teams. Remember I said all four teams can make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
Like really, really could if you think about it, because this year, Burrow got hurt. So that kind of hurt it, but it was a point in time, even when he kind of the backup came in, we was almost tracking where all four was gonna make playoffs.
Yeah,
so you never know.
Yeah. It's been a little weird with when they went to the 17 game format, because you would think teams would be that only win 9 games will have a harder time making the playoff, but actually more teams are making it with 9 and 8 that used to didn't make it that were 9 and 7.
Right.
And I guess because what you're getting is that them last 2 weeks are becoming more significant, where teams will be, maybe if they had a good run, they might have blew off them last 2 games. So now you're getting more real competitive games. And so now you are starting to get, like in this division, AFC North, where you're getting possible all the teams have winning records, where you used to didn't get that in the NFL. And you're coming down to, like, this year, it seemed like there was half of the NFL was in the hunt. And they only had like 7 wins. Yeah, teams with 7 wins still in the hunt with 2 games left. They're like, what do you mean they still in the hunt?
Them tiebreakers really mean something.
Yeah, that's true.
Really means something.
Yeah. So hey, y'all have any thoughts on the draft yet? I know this is not a draft show, but any thoughts on that? I mean, I understand Pittsburgh may need a center, maybe left tackle, or is it left tackle? I mean, any thoughts on that? What's Pittsburgh drafting around 15?
20. Oh man, I want to say 23.
23. Okay.
I'm not for sure. But I think they're gonna go O-line. I think they're gonna go O-line. The talk around town is the center from Oregon, Powers. I think that's what they mocking the Steelers to do, is to pick up the center from Oregon, Powers. They said they really like him. Yeah, and that's a hole right now, because I think didn't Cole retire or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's definitely a hole.
Okay. We
So,
got Ed Hobbs out. He's watching on YouTube. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Y'all see his comment? Look like it says, in all honesty, what's that say? It's QB1 plays. Pittsburgh will have vastly improved next season. The O-line and the problems that he improved will help the QB position. If you got a good one, the NFC North team doesn't know how to develop QBs.
I think he meant to say the Chicago Bears, because I don't know. Jordan Love looked pretty good last season to me, man. I don't know. So, and that's the NFC North. It's just Chicago, man. They need to go ahead and get rid of the team. It's the owners. We'll go with I think it's the McCaskills, whatever their name is. We're gonna blame them. But as far as the drafting, I mean, yeah, I think O-line, the way I would go was I would go O-line, D-line, O-line in that order. Got to be able to plug those trenches up. We need a nose tackle. We need a 3-gap nose tackle to be able to play that 3-4 for us. We need a left tackle. The only spot that we have right now that's promising is Broderick Jones, the rookie, at the right guard side. And I saw some report that they wanted to try to move him to left tackle. So I think it's just O-line, D-line. We still need a middle linebacker next to Queen, though, because one thing that and one of my brother-in-law from Chicago made a good point. You know, with Queen, year before last, he had a very mediocre year. Where he balled out this year is when he had a full season with Roquan. So he's the Roma in that 3-4. So we still need a middle that's going to be able to knock stuff out as far as the run, be able to be the quarterback of that defense, and pretty much be the scraper. You know, who's going to be the one that's going to be coming behind that nose tackle to be able to make that stop, whether it's a run play, whether it's getting at the quarterback, and then allow Queen to be able to fall back, because he can guard a tight end. You know what I mean? He can be able to play with the best of them. I'm not saying he's going to shut down Kelsey, but he can be formidable if we're having him drop back in zone or even have to be able to play man. So I still say offensive line, defensive line, sprinkle in the linebacker. If there's a real good linebacker that could be gotten that's going to be solid in that 3-4, I will go there, and then probably be able to get another slot. I think we still need another slot corner that we can be able to. You can always have extra bodies. So that's probably the route that I'll be able to go.
Okay. Hey, Chak, E-Hop said, don't y'all need a receiver?
I mean, if they do, they know how to go get them. That's all I'll say on that one. If they do, they know how to go get them. I mean, I'm hearing in the last hour or so, Michael Williams supposed to be visiting the facility tomorrow, I think. So we're gonna see how that go, but I ain't really worried about the receiver room. I never do. You know, I still think, you know, Calvin Austin, you know, he still can grow into the position, that slot position. Nah, I ain't really worried about the receivers, man. That's to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that one, man. I think we like Goldie with it, man. We don't sweat no receivers. We get those in our sleep. We say we wake up to a new receiver. So I receiver I wouldn't worry about at all. I didn't know about the Mike Williams. That's not bad. And then, you know, we picked up Jeffers from the Rams. He ain't been healthy, but so your receivers I ain't really worried about. We got Freiermuth. He's our other receiver, so we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, did y'all want to go over anything else, or y'all ready to close for the evening? I mean, I know we dug into a lot today. You know, we talked about the Kenny Pickens trade, the acquisition of Russell Wilson, trading for Justin Fields, and the quarterback room. Talked a little bit about the draft. Anything else y'all want to go over before we close out for the night?
Got your pick. You got your pick for us, Chak. What we doing? Where we gonna end up so far based off what you've seen?
You talking about as far as the division?
Yeah, well, maybe division. How far will you see us going? Where you see it ending?
Man, I'm gonna pick them to win the division. And if Russell is on top of his game, I mean, I can see them going to the AFC game, the AFC Championship game. I can see that. If Russell can do what he do last year, put the ball in the end zone, don't turn the ball over, and that defense can keep teams out the end zone, and they just kicking field goals, and they still creating turnovers. TJ Watt and them boys, and I mean, they can make it to the AFC bowl game.
We got somebody saying on YouTube that the Ravens winning that division. I mean, they throwing the gauntlet down.
I mean, hey, they supposed to say it. They supposed to say it. But if they look at Lamar Jackson's record against them Steelers, you know, there's otherwise. That says otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's not forget they did lose to Mason Rudolph last year. So that makes a difference. I think we get one this year. I think we win a wild card game. Okay. I think we win a wild card game. So I think we get in. We win when we lose in the divisional. So I'll take that. That's a step forward. That's a step back to what we know, because I mean it is all about rings when it's all said and done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Ravens fan there in the chat will know, it's heartbreaking and losing that. You can get there, you can get to that AFC Championship, but ultimately we looking for the, we looking for that when it's all said and done. So I think the division is gonna prepare us, man. It's really gonna prepare us. So having to go against the Ravens twice, having to go against the Bengals, go against the Browns, is going to prepare us to where anything outside our division we can be able to handle. So that's why I think we can get a wild card. Quarterback play is why we didn't stand a chance. We played well. We played well that first game. I mean, you think about it, if we had a Russ, right, we may have been able to, because it wasn't like we got blown out. Josh Vick did hit us, ran all over the defense, but outside of that big play, that second, that third, that fourth, we settled down, and all we needed was our quarterback to be able to give us some drive and some scores on the drive. So I think we get one. I think we get into the wild card. But as far as like division, winning the division, it's up in the air. I don't think it's the Ravens to win. I don't think it's just going to be a toss-up, because every year is something different. You know what I mean? As far as kind of what happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns mess around and win it this year. But it's up in the air. So I think it's going to be a tough one. But yeah, we get a wild card. We get a wild card win this year. One win, and we head in the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin Fields going to come in, and then you never know. We might be able to get that 7th Super Bowl ring. Thank you, Chicago.
It's been about 2016 since the playoff win. I know it's been a while. I want to say
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Okay. Yeah, it's almost got to get that monkey off the Steelers' back, right? Yeah. You get that one. I mean, that's all you really need. You need that. You got to get that one, that first one, to get that chip, right? So you got the first team. You get the rolling. But you just got to knock off that first team. I mean, that's where it's at, because for a while, once you start losing that first game all the time, players won't admit it, but it start messing with them mentally. Everybody always say it doesn't. It does. Yeah. It does. Just like these athletes listen to all these podcasts and they listen to all the other stuff, and they pretend like, I tune all that stuff out. No, you don't.
Nah, I didn't know it was a state of emergency back there in Chicago where they're talking about burning their Chicago jerseys. I didn't know it was that bad. They said the fans just fed up. That's it. They done, man. They tired of the mediocrity. That's what it's a good for Justin. Like, it's like they all celebrate. It's like a cousin that got out of jail, and everybody happy that he's free. Free if Jay Fields is free. That's what's up.
Yeah, you have a few positive comments. Good for Justin. He's with a winning organization. Great coach.
Oh yeah.
You said, we got E-Hop trying to read the stuff without my glasses on. Can one of y'all see that?
Okay, so I want QB1 to take over and win a playoff game. Yeah, I think it can be done. It can be done.
It can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, thank everybody who tuned in to Chak and Baba. Hey, do y'all know when the next show coming up?
1 week.
Yeah.
In a week? Okay.
In a week, yeah.
Okay.
In a week.
So Baba GD should be back then. I know, man. Yeah, he been talking all that smack, man. What he was gonna say today.
He ain't a fan of QB1. He ain't a fan of QB1.
No, he's not. But hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button and become a subscriber to Chak and Baba, who talks Steelers 24/7, and also the Bears Banner platform, who you know that I'm on that platform as well, and we talk Bears 24/7. But man, we're looking for an exciting season for both teams, as both teams actually starting with a new quarterback coming into the 2024 season, and we got the draft coming up and looking at some nice prospects. And this is a quarterback loaded, and put them quotes up there, quarterback loaded draft, right? You got about 5 to 7 guys coming out, and you got a nice receiving core. So and then you got some nice offensive tackles. So hey, you may get lucky. Someone may fall to the Steelers, right? It depends on how this shake out. But I do think some people are. I think a lot of those guys are going to go in the first round as far as quarterbacks. I think people like J.J. McCarthy is going to go pretty early. I keep having J.J. fall into the Steelers, but that may not happen with the signing of Russell Wilson, because there may not be, and then especially with getting Justin Fields. They're probably not doing anything with JJ, but I thought JJ kind of fit the Steelers. They're tough, grinding out, and JJ is a good quarterback. I mean, I think some people kind of don't realize how good he was because Michigan ran the ball a lot, but I thought JJ was a pretty good, sound quarterback.
Yeah, he got that ring.
Yeah, he a winner.
Yeah, sure did.
He a winner.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, E-Hop said, hey, great show, guys. Awesome, man. We appreciate that. So, hey, until next time, peace.